Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Levi. I'm the founder of Dynamic. We specialize in business process optimization, smart marketing strategies, and data and AI solutions to scale your revenue. This is the podcast, The Balance, and today I'm with a very special guest. Cami, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I'm really excited about this episode. To start off, could you tell us maybe a little bit more about who you are and what do you exactly do?
Yes. So I'm Cami Watts, as you mentioned, and I'm the owner of Your Financial Edge, which is a fractional CFO company. And what we do is we really help small businesses keep cash and revenues, which you help them increase in their pockets so that it results in profit. I have been known recently, I've been dubbed the cash flow catalyst. So that is something that I really focus on with small businesses.
Nice. Nice. And can you tell us a little bit more about like your background and how was the journey to where you are right now?
Yeah, sure. I spent everybody has to promise not to do the math, though. I spent over 30 years in corporate America, working for very large companies such as Warner Brothers, Turner Broadcasting, Coca Cola, and even did my time with public accounting firms to get my CPA license. And just really decided when I left that world that I wanted to move into using all of those skills and experience that I had into helping small business owners succeed and change those percentages that are out there about small businesses and how it's really a struggle for them to stay in business 5 years, 10 years. And I wanted to be part of helping change that statistic.
Yeah, I get that. With your financial edge, what is like the thing that makes you different or maybe better than a competitor, or why should people work with you?
Yeah, so I think what I bring to the table that's probably a little different than a lot of people who are doing what I do is this sense of being able to tie your business goals to your personal goals and not only reviewing financial statements and cash flow forecast and understanding all of that, but really being able to tie that back to an owner's personal goals, where they want to go. I have very diverse clients, and I don't give my 20-year-old who is trying to make money as fast as he can, he's got no other obligations, the same advice that I give my 60-year-old who just had an empty nest and they're looking to retire. Even if they had the exact same business, I would not give them the same advice or help them strategically in the same way because they have different goals.
Yeah. And that immediately lines up perfectly to my next question. What are your goals with the firm? What is the thing that you were working towards with your financial edge?
Yeah, this is my first year in business actually. And so my goals have shifted and ebbed and flowed as most business owners their first year realize it's such a wild ride, right? But I'm at the point now where I want to be very much a home base or a catalyst for all things finance for small business owners. So that would include bringing some bookkeeping in house. It includes doing some tax preparation, but it also has those CFO level type of conversations where I help them strategize and understand everything. I joke and say everything that touches finance, which means everything. And so
At the
my
end of the
goal
day.
is, yes, my goal is to have a boutique firm that really people know this is going to take a lot of stress off my plate because this is going to be a true business partner. Although I can't afford an in-house CFO possibly who's going to be that sounding block that I talk to all the time, I can still have that
Yeah.
in my firm. That's what
Yeah.
my goals are.
Yeah, so you want to be able to help your clients with as well the bookkeeping, being an accountant, being a CFO, but not the prices that they would pay for an in-house CFO or like an in-house accountant or something like that.
That's correct, right?
Yeah.
Because
All
they
right.
really aren't ready for that. They're ready for maybe a 25% of a bookkeeper's time and maybe 10% of a tax prep time and maybe 30% of a tax planning time and then the rest of it a CFO. You can't, divide a person up like that a lot of times. They're just not able to do that. But with a firm, I can give you all those pieces. Mhm.
Yeah. And for the long term, because you say like, hey, you really want to be that boutique firm. For the long term, do you also have a goal to go like more all over the States, maybe even all over North America or even globally, or how do you envision that?
Well, it's interesting because I'm already kind of all over the US. I have clients in Chicago, I have clients in Palm Springs, I have clients in Texas. So I already am US based. And the magic of being able to go online and connect really helps with that. I do have someone that I've been speaking to in Italy, and we're having some small conversations. She's not quite ready for what I offer, but we're there when she's ready to go.
Yeah. So then you also want to make the move towards Europe as well.
Sure, yeah, I would love to have board meetings in Europe.
Nice. I can imagine. I can imagine. All right. And what are you doing right now to grow and to make more people aware of your service and what you can offer them?
Yeah, that is probably one of my bigger challenges, to be honest with you. I always joke and say of those big companies that I left, the two departments that I miss the most are IT support and marketing.
Yeah. All right.
Especially I think for accounting and finance folks, we're not typically natural marketers. There are a few of us out there, but most of us are not naturally marketing experts and really good at that. So I've tried to do a lot of different things, some organic. I've also tried to do some paid advertisement on social media. LinkedIn seems to be mostly where B2B is found. And so working some in that area, trying to get the right mix of messages out there. And then coming on to programs like yours, hopefully to get the message out there of what a fractional CFO can do for a business, and see if, it strikes somebody interest and says, oh, hey, I could really use some help in that area.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
education at this point.
Yeah, I understand. And next to that specific challenge, are there other like serious obstacles or things that you had to overcome um, to get where you are right now?
Specifically with my experience or with the firm?
Let's dive into the firm.
Sure. Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the firm is the education pieces I just briefly mentioned. A lot of people who are not in corporate America or in large companies don't necessarily know exactly what a CFO brings to the table. And so helping people understand that a CFO is not a bookkeeper, right? And it's not a tax specialist. A CFO, those things fall underneath a CFO in a large corporation, but a CFO is a holistic financial guru, I would say. They bring all of that together along with some forecasting and some budgeting, which are two different things, by the way, and some cash flow analysis. And they bring all of that to the table to help drive business decisions. Businesses don't succeed without the data, and what gets measured gets improved. And so a CFO really steps in and helps people organize what data is important to their business. How do you measure it if you're not measuring it? And then what do you do with that information when you have it measured? And so that education, I think that was the hardest thing. And it still continues to be a challenge to get the message out there that, I love to hear clients tell me, well, I just don't think I'm big enough for you. And I'm like, well, let's talk about it. Let's see, right? Because if you want to get big enough for me, you're going to have to do some things to understand how to get there.
Yeah. So then you invest like some time in them to make them bigger so that they are eventually like big enough to work with you as well.
Absolutely. I offer a 3-profit health check for 30 minutes to anybody who wants to sign up. And that comes from even the person who's saying, I think I'm going to open a business. I am so open to that because I think that 30 minutes, I can give people 3 or 4 actionable items, no matter where they are in their process and their growth, that they can action upon and take and do themselves. And that helps them succeed. And again, my mission was to help small businesses succeed. So if I could get my wealth from somewhere else, I'd probably do it all for free. But
Yeah, I
I
can imagine.
do the 30-minute free profit health check because I do want to help people get to the level where I can help them grow even further. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I already know the answer, but what is your favorite thing to do? Since you say you want to offer like multiple things within your firm, so that's bookkeeping,
Yeah.
accounting, CFO services, but what's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing to do is to help a business owner take something that's been an inner monologue running in their head nonstop out of their head and put it into an actionable plan. That's my favorite thing to do. I don't even think most of them realize how much of their energy and their emotions and their time is spent running things in their head that they can put down. We can organize it, we can strategize, and we can put a plan in place. And then they freed up all that time, energy, and emotion. So that's my favorite thing to do.
In this podcast, we also really want to dive into like the future of accounting, the future of bookkeeping, also regarding AI. So I'm curious, are you already like looking into that, using that, maybe trying some things out? And what's your vision on the future of accounting and bookkeeping and the whole financial sector with the growth of AI?
Yeah, I am definitely using it. I know some of my peers are very, very hesitant. And there's always a concern when you're dealing with people's financials that you want to make sure that the data is secure, 100%, right? So that is something that needs to be always in the back of our mind because you have to make sure their data is secure. However, the way that AI is moving and how fast that it's moving, if you do not start to try and incorporate it and try to answer those questions of how can I use it and keep the data secure, you're going to get left behind because it is just moving too fast. And it's going to be part of everybody's practice at some point. And that by saying if you are somebody who refuses to make it part of your practice, you may not have a practice. It's just a fact. And I do use it. I'm very careful with how I use it as far as data. I have not used it for any specific person's data at all. However, I have built several applications using it on how I can then import it into using my client's data in an environment that is completely closed, right? So you can use it to build the information, and then you can move it into a closed environment and use it on that data. And so I do use it that way. I'm your typical user from a standpoint of, hey, chat, how would you say this? Although
But I think we all do that. I think we
we
all do
do,
that because
but
it's
I
just
call
being a
mine
little bit
Mozart.
lazy.
Yep. My chat is named Mozart. It has a name. So I put in the melody and I have asked Mozart to do the orchestra. So I do use that, but more recently there's been some new developments with formula-based AI, and so that is really something that I've been dabbling with in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, makes sense. And next to AI, because that's obviously a big trend, what other like key trends in the industry are you looking into right now or like responding to?
Right. So something that it is a trend, but it's a constant trend in my business is just macroeconomics and things that are happening in the world.
Yeah.
Now, they're always different. I have real estate investors, and sometimes it's the real estate market is getting hit or they're in a boom. I have other people who are service providers. I have other people who are production. They produce different products. All of those things are impacted by our macroeconomics, what's happening in the world, what is happening with individual governments, what are inflation rates going on right now, what's going on with tariffs. All of these things are things that you should always be looking into. I will say that right now feels like one of the most chaotic times that we've experienced in a while, where the old models of how do you trend out analysis for where inflation is going to go or where all of these types of macroeconomic indicators are going to do, they don't tell you the same things they used to. And so that is something that, as a professional who helps people try to figure out where their business should go and what decisions they should make, I have to be able to pivot and not only take in the historical data that used to tell you certain things, but really look at, do we think it's still going to tell us and do the same things that it used to? And so I think that's a hard shift for a lot of people who typically rely very heavily on historical trends and numbers. it's hard to make that shift of, it just may not happen the same way it's always happened. And then what do you do? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for your financial edge, what is most important to you and your firm? What are like your core values and
Mm,
how do they show up in your day-to-day operations?
yes. So my core values are grace, wisdom, and hospitality. Now, those are kind of some unusual words that people use, but they're virtue based. And what they mean is that everything that we do is based on having grace and affording that to everyone that we come across, really understanding where people are coming from, not being judgmental of anything that they've done or haven't done in their career, but meeting them exactly where they are. Wisdom comes in with let's make some very reasonable decisions about some things. And if we're going to be conservative in those decisions, make sure we tell people that's what we're doing. If we're going to be aggressive, make sure we're doing that. But using the wisdom and the experience that I've built over the years to actually help drive those decisions and advise my clients. And then the hospitality part is everybody's welcome in my firm. We are a very open firm as far as how we work, who we work with, and those kind of things. And so hospitality is very important to me to make sure that everybody feels welcome under our umbrella. And that's what drives my firm is all of those things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. And for the bookkeeper, the accountant, or the CFO, or just the entrepreneur in general that is listening right now, what would be your best piece of advice that you would give them if they're looking to grow or looking to innovate their business?
Yeah. Develop your tech stack sooner than later and stick to it. There's a lot of shiny new things out there right now. And I think one of the things I probably did, and I'm still tempted to do, is to see something shiny and new and go, that may answer all my problems. It may, probably not. And so making sure that you figure out your tech stack and works best for your company fast and get it implemented. You can always move or expand or improve later. But if you're still hunting and pecking and pulling, you'll end up spending a lot of time and find that 6 months, 7 months down the road, you still don't have something that you're using consistently because you haven't been able to spend the time on it. You've been in too many
Yeah.
places. That would be my
Yeah.
advice.
And is that like a mistake that you made yourself as well, or?
Yes, it is. I love new technology. And so for me, it was like I would hear about something, I'd be like, oh, that sounds amazing. Let me look at it. And then inevitably, I would miss the free renewal period and end up getting charged for something that I didn't even have time to use because I was looking at too many pieces, right? So that was definitely something that I made a mistake doing. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I understand. Right. Well, we all learn from our mistakes, right?
We do. We do.
And hopefully people after listening to this podcast won't make this mistake.
It will save them a lot of money if they do.
Hopefully. All right. Cami, if people want to learn more from you or get in contact with you or maybe even work with you, where can they best find you?
Yeah, the quickest way to find me is on my website, which is www. Watts, WATTS, yourfinancialedge.com. So it's a little play on words. You got to spell the Watts correctly, but it's wattsyourfinancialedge.com. And on there, they can also find all of my social media connections. Mm-hmm.
Right. I will also make sure to put the link to your social media connections and to the website in the description of the podcast below. Cami, I really want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It was a very smooth, insightful, and valuable conversation. So thank you so much. Do you've got any like last words for the podcast, maybe?
No, thank you for having me. I love talking about what fractional CFOs can do for small businesses. There are more of us today than there were before, but there's still way more small businesses than fractional CFOs. And we would love most of the ones that I've met and been around, my peers, we would love to help you guys be successful in your small business.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I think it was really valuable. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And for the ladies and gentlemen at home that are listening, this was the podcast The Balance. My guest today was Cami Watts, the founder and owner of Your Financial Edge. My name is Levi. I'm the founder of Dynamic, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. And we'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.